So think about something in your life that you're wanting to change, that you're having struggle with, and this could be a phobia of something that is becoming crippling for you, or anxiety to go to a social gathering, or that you're feeling depressed. And there could be things in your current reality that are causing you to feel this way. I know, but how we think and behave on a day-to-day basis is this interplay between ourselves, which encompasses all the experience and all the choices we have had up until this point in our lives, and our interaction with our environment. So, think about your most prominent struggle in your life at the moment. This could be loneliness or fears or whatever it may be. And now, if you're living in the UK and you go and do the mainstream route and book a doctor's appointment, the doctor will probably offer you tablets of some kind, and they may forward you to have counselling. And according to the NHS data, about 12.5% of the UK population in 2024/2025 was prescribed antidepressants, and that's probably several million people's worth. And now, I'm not qualified to say someone shouldn't see the doctor or ignore doctor's advice, but my thoughts, if it was me going to the doctor and to get an antidepressant to solve my problems with, say, loneliness and life going nowhere, what is this actually going to solve for me? Is there any actual healing qualities in these tablets, or is it just suppressing my symptoms? And and then my body gets so used to antidepressants after a while, it's gonna struggle to get off of them, and you have to like wane yourself off. You have to go and follow doctor's advice on how to come off of these tablets and so on. And let's not even talk about the side effects of that you can have from having antidepressants and so on. So I might tell the doctor thanks but no thanks and ask if I can see a counsellor instead. And now the way counselling works is they give you this physical space with them where it's safe for you to talk about whatever you want, and they listen to you and they reflect back what you're saying, and they ask some questions to help you to think about stuff and explore your feelings and process things, whatever. But they don't really give you advice, and they don't do anything deeper than that. And so you rebook and you speak about your feelings again to them, and then you rebook again, speak about your feelings again, and so on. And how far are you really getting? That's how I would feel. Um, now I've heard tales and times where people have had pharmaceuticals and have gone to counselling and it's really helped them, and that's great. Um, and but and this is the point I want to get across. Are we actually healing on a deeper, more unconscious level? They both feel very surface level to me, pharmaceuticals and basic counselling. Um, and I've had clients who have come in, and there was this one person in particular who was a drug user saying how counselling was very helpful for them to talk about their feelings, but nothing was really changing in terms of their drug using habits until they came to see me. So after you've tried pharmaceuticals and counselling, you might start looking to alternative therapies, and then you've got things like CBT, ACT, DBT, IPT, hypnotherapy, what I do, which I want to talk more about later too, why I don't call it hypnotherapy so much. You've got mindfulness, you've got apps, you've got YouTube guides, you've got so many different things. And how are you supposed to know what is actually good for you or what you're needing specifically? And because you're not an expert on therapy or know much about it and so on, you're not expected to. And how can there be so many different therapies for something that is simply working with the laws of nature? So what do I mean by that? By working with the laws of nature. So I want to get away from using the word therapy and start using the word healing as we make sense of all this. And once you start understanding what healing is and how it works, it doesn't have to involve a healer or a therapist being present, although I highly recommend it because we as therapists / healers are so knowledgeable and experienced, and we offer a different perspective on life. And without getting too deep into it, there's something very powerful about the rapport element of the healer / therapist and the client, and the fact that the therapist himself can guide you through it and help you to let go and really sink into and connect to those innermost parts of ourselves helps so much as well. But healing can happen without without someone present there, because we are tapping into our innate healing ability. And what I like to say is, it's not that so much that I am a healer, but I facilitate healing. I guide people through healing, is how I like to describe it. So I'll try and explain more. So we have a conscious mind and an unconscious mind. And the conscious mind handles things like logic, problem solving, focused attention, things like that. And our unconscious mind stores all the memories and all the experiences we have had in our lives. It drives our emotions, our habits, our personality, and so on. So think about when you're writing a text message to someone and you have a whole language stored in your head, in your subconscious mind that you're not aware of. You're not currently thinking about different words or whatever. But when you focus on your phone and you're typing the message, you can, your conscious mind is focused on the screen, choosing the words and hitting send, and the unconscious is the vast library of language you have in your brain. So your conscious mind is the bit that is focusing on your phone, typing and choosing which words, and the unconscious is like this bank that you have, this vast library in your brain. So the conscious mind is a tiny part of who we are. And a lot of who we are and our emotional problems and the good bits of our subconscious mind, I know I've been saying subconscious and unconscious, and they're the same thing. I often use them interchangeably. But so healing involves working with the subconscious part of our minds. And like I said, that is who we are. Our conscious mind is a tiny part of who we are. So how do we work with that subconscious mind? So the best way that nature has given us is with deep relaxation and a healer present, a therapist present if you want. And in modern society, we'll either call this state meditation or hypnosis, hence my title of hypnotherapist. So, explaining more about healing. So the word heal originates from the Anglo-Saxon word harlin, which means whole. So to heal is to become more whole. And what I just described about going into your subconscious mind with relaxation is connecting to parts of ourselves that need healing. It is becoming whole. And trauma disconnects us from the self because it forces us to live outside of our bodies and to bury our emotions and to look outside for sources of validation and proof of worth and numbing agents, whatever. And so you're probably wanting to learn more about what that actually looks like with a hypnotherapist, with a healer. And so the common misconception around hypnosis is that and it tends to come from stage hypnotism, that you're under some kind of control, and that the hypnotherapist can make you do daft things like acting like a chicken and so on. And this all tends to come from stage hypnotism. So, like I said, the word hypnosis simply means being in a deeply relaxed state. This is the word we've kind of used to describe this deeply relaxed state of mind, along with meditation. And so you are awake after all. There's people you see on stage, they are awake and aware after all. They're just in a deeply relaxed state. So the client is the one who is in control, not the hypnotist, not the hypnotherapist. So there's people you see on stage doing those daft things, they were willing to do so. And one of the things that everyone misses, that I find most impressive with people like Derren Brown, who do these things with the people up on stage, is that you can see they like Derren, you can see that they trust him, and that is the most important part for him, to work with his subjects up on stage. And it's something that people miss when we watch him. But the good thing is, when we are in this deeper relaxed state, our conscious mind relaxes and gives us much greater access to that subconscious part of our mind, which I said is where the driving force of our emotions, where everything is stored, our traumas, our good things, and so on. And that's why it can be so transformative. That's why it can be so impactful. And relaxation with a healer looks like shutting our eyes and focusing on our breathing, doing some nice guided breathing exercises, and just slowing down, relaxing the body, relaxing the muscles. And the best things come with patience. So just letting go, and the more you relax, the longer you relax and let go, for the deeper and deeper you will go in your mind. And so we have a strong mind-body connection. So when we relax the body, we relax the mind as well, and vice versa. And then using things like mental imagery and counting down and stuff, and even just simply asking you to take that relaxation and increase it, just simply asking you to let go more and more of your mind, in itself is very effective, and it actually shows how simple it is to go deep into our minds. It just helps so much when we have someone there guiding us through it. And it's a feeling of letting go, and you could say it's also a feeling of trust as well. And once we're in this relaxed state, that's, like I said, our subconscious mind is much more available. When we do relax, our awareness actually increases. Think about how when you're relaxing in the garden, and you're more aware of all the birds you can hear, the breeze on your face, you're aware of your breathing, your lungs expanding and collapsing. So your awareness increases, and again, that's awareness into our subconscious mind as well. And we can go into our emotions, into our problems. And it's quite simple, really, what I'm talking about. And also remember that emotion is an energy. So, for example, you've probably seen it in your life as well, when people are fighting and they're physically throwing hands at each other, and they're experiencing anger, a lot of anger, a lot of rage. And what often happens when they stop fighting, they've got all this emotion, it's got nowhere to go, so they might cry. That often happens, or they just struggle to settle down. They've got all this energy and it's got to go somewhere. So it comes out in other ways, like crying, or verbally, or just agitated, whatever it may be. So when we go through a trauma, emotions can get locked in the body and in our minds. So So with tapping into our innate healing ability, going into our subconscious mind, into deep relaxation, we can connect to the emotion that is locked in the body, and we can release it. That's why people often cry when they're having hypnotherapy with me, or or they or if not crying, they at least feel it in the body. And remember, so we don't have to cry, but if it's overwhelming enough, we do cry. And crying is a very powerful, very healing tool, and we have it for a very good reason. So that's one thing of how healing works, is we're releasing trapped emotion from the body, freeing ourselves up to function and for things to flow. The other thing that happens in terms of how we heal going into this deep relaxation is, and I'll explain this is a simplified explanation, but the way we process information normally day to day is in the cortex part of our brain. But when we go through a trauma or a stressed thing, we process it in a place called the amygdala, which is a very primitive part of the brain, which governs our survival responses, things like fear, anger, our fight or flight response. You may have heard of this. And that's how we've processed it. So let's say you had a bad experience with a spider, or let's say a dog, actually, a bad experience with a dog when you were younger, and you processed it in the amygdala part of your brain to be that dogs are scary, that make you feel scared, that you should be afraid, whatever. And even though you are an adult now, you've still processed it the way you processed it the first time. With fear, it's essentially your younger self acting out and coming out in the present you, even though you're an adult now and you're grown up and you've probably had plenty of experiences where dogs didn't bite you or anything like that. You still process it the way you did the first time because it was so intense, and you didn't have an adult present to really tell you that you are safe, that dogs are okay, etc., etc. So with hypnosis, with this deep relaxed state, we are able to go back to points in the life that need reprocessing, and we can go back to a trauma like with a dog, and we can process it in the cortex part of our brain, and you can see it's literally going back into the memory, and with that heightened awareness and seeing that you were safe after all, the dog was just excited or whatever, or if you were bitten, just telling yourself that's not all dogs, and giving yourself that reassurance. And it really is that simple. Is going into a deep relaxation, going into points in our life, going into emotions, allowing ourselves to feel it, and giving ourselves the reassurance and reprocessing what happened. Of course, you can't change the facts of what happened to you, but it changes your feelings around it. It changes how you have processed it. So now from there, we do other things around that but I'm just sharing with you the fundamentals of what healing is. And this is something you can do on your own, especially when that emotion comes to the surface. So for example, someone phones you and asks you if you can come out tonight to a social gathering, and you struggle to say no, so you just say yes. And then after you hang up on the phone, you feel anxiety. You feel that social anxiety coming up that is usually dormant, but it's come up in this moment. But that's your chance to heal yourself. That's your chance to then go into that emotion and ask, why am I feeling this way? It's shutting your eyes, relaxing, breathing, going into the emotion, allowing yourself to feel it, giving space to feel it, asking where it's coming from. Why do I feel this way? And the answers, not forcing it, and the answers come up, and then you can, and that awareness of why in itself helps you. And then you do the same thing of giving yourself reassurance and feeling what needs to be felt, the underlying thing. So for example, it might be, even though the main emotion you're feeling is anxiety, but underneath it could be rooted in shame. You may have been shamed when you were younger in a social thing, and that's the real emotion this anxiety is protecting. And when you feel that shame, allowing it to be, and then reminding yourself you are okay, you are worthy, you are liked and loved, and so on. That helps. That heals your social anxiety. So you allow yourself to shut your eyes and breathe and go into the body. And like I said, crucially, go into the emotion. And yeah, it's a lot of it is sending compassion, love, and reassurance to parts of yourself. And if that emotion is powerful enough, it will cause you to cry. It will come out as tears. But the good thing is that tears have cortisol in them. So there is a physical or biological element to this. So cortisol is a stress hormone, I should say. So you're physically taking stress hormones out of the body when you are crying. So there's not just a emotional, energetic element to this. There is a chemical element to this as well, you could say. And this is our natural way of healing our minds. We are tapping into our innate healing ability. Hypnosis is the word we use for deep relaxation. And hypnotherapist is the term I'm officially am, but really I am a healer. I'm a healer who guides you through healing. Like I said, there's more around it, but I wanted to do this because there's so many different therapies and there's so many different avenues, and people don't understand what's going on, and it's all just branches of the same tree, or all trying to do the same thing, or some of them doing something I don't think is very effective, a bit too surface level. So I hope you get something from this, and I hope you can now understand how healing works a little more.